Good morning or good evening, depending upon what time you're watching this video. This is Dave Nesburg, and I am excited to talk to you a little bit about how God is moving and working in this specific time, kind of the coronavirus time. It's a little odd sitting here, just me, Kristen behind the camera, in my living room. I would rather be with you. I would rather have people looking back at me and having a conversation. But this is what we have, and we're pretty blessed to be able to have that. It's Easter time. It's Easter time, and there's so many thoughts and so many things that happen during Easter time and during the season of Lent. It was really one of the first experiences that my family had when we were here. We got here, and we decided we were going to bring the kids to an Easter egg hunt over in Onekama. And we thought, man, our kids are going to be pumped. They wanted to get a lot of eggs. They wanted to go out after it. We went over to the park in Onekama, and there were eggs all over the place. My kids' eyes just lit up. And they just took off after these eggs with these big baskets. They came back just in minutes with their baskets just plump full of eggs just coming out over the top, feeling like they were victorious in this process, only to find out by somebody making an announcement that kids were only supposed to get 2 or 3 eggs apiece. We figured that probably wasn't the best thing first experience that the community had with us, but my kids loved it. Easter time, and I'm sure that all of you have great memories, and even during the season of Lent, studies that you've done, time you've spent with God, there have been things that you remember and that bring you wonderful and fond memories. But this year's different. Not that bad things are happening in your prayer life, but that there are bad things happening in our country. The coronavirus, COVID-19, is making each and every day a question mark. It's making it a little bit more difficult. It's making us wonder, what's next? Can it be this bad? Is it going to get better? When can I go to Big Al's again? When can I go to Taco About It? When can I go to a movie? When can I get together with friends? When can I see my grandkids? So this is a difficult time. And what I want to talk to you about is just a couple of things. And if I was to wrap it up even before I started it, I'm going to talk to you about how God is so powerful and is so here right now in this time, and also how we need to behave as Christians as we move from this place forward. I think about Lent, this time, which is 46 days long. It's 40 days of Lent, but 6 Sundays, which were designed to be a time of celebration, so they didn't count in the Lenten time. It was a time of prayer, a time of fasting, a time of charity, a time of giving. 40 days, Jesus in the wilderness, Noah in the flood, Moses on the mountain getting the 10 Commandments, Elijah hiding from Jezebel. Human gestation takes 40 weeks. The number 40 is a significant number. And this is a period of time where we're spending time with God, we're focusing on God, but this virus is making it so incredibly hard for us to do that. So let me tell you just a couple things that I've been thinking about, a couple things that I hope that you can think about as we move through this Lenten period, with so many things going on around us and so many difficulties. Remember a time many years ago when my son was very little. Me, my father-in-law, and my son were up in Maine, and we went out on a boat ride. Or we went out fishing, actually. We were going out fishing, and we were fishing for cod, which is kind of boring. You drop a big weight to the bottom, and you reel it up as fast as you can. You drop it to the bottom, you reel it up. And so we're out there in the waves, and we're out there, looking down. We're baiting the hooks. We're dropping them down. We're reeling them up. We're reeling them up. Sure, it was beautiful around us, but it was getting kind of boring, just going down and up and down and up. And then all of a sudden, I heard this sound off in the distance. And I'm kind of listening to the sound. I said, man, what was that? My father-in-law goes, nothing, just keep going. Then I heard it again, kind of this poof sound. I said, what in the world? I said, Bob, are there whales out here? And he goes, I've never seen a whale out here in all the years that I've been fishing. Next thing you know, right next to the boat. We see this blowhole come up. We see the back of a whale pop out of the water and shoot up into the air. My father-in-law just went, oh my gosh, what do we do? Reel the lines in, reel the lines in, reel the lines. You're going to catch the whale. Next thing you know, that was my dog. Next thing you know, we were reeling the lines in, and we were watching as the whales came by the boat and gave a show for us. I will always remember, out of the dozens and dozens of times I fished with my father, I will always remember that time fishing because there was a whale involved. This Lent, this Easter season, you will always remember. You will always remember because of what is going on at this time. And I want to encourage you to remember it well. And by that I mean, make this a memory that you can tell later on to people and tell them about the glory of God, the things that God has done in your life. Make this a lasting memory. What I'd love to have you try to do is journal. Write down what you're seeing, what's going on around you. Write down the things that you see God doing in the lives of people around you. Take notes for this time. The Bible in Psalm 103:2 says, do not forget a single blessing that God has done. I'm going to guarantee you that during this season, this difficult time, God is going to be blessing you in ways that you want to remember. You will always remember this Lenten season. And I want you to take that with your two hands. I want you to grab onto it. And I want you to write it down and remember so you can tell others. Another thing I want to tell you this is during this season, in the desert of Lenten time, of Lent, in the desert, this is a time, and this is a time when you are going to have a full range of emotions happening to you probably each and every day. And I want you to know something, that's okay. I mean, I want you to know, I wake up in the morning and I turn on the news and I'm anxious. And then I read the Word of God and I feel calm. And then I have maybe a Pop-Tart or a toast or a strudel or two. I feel pretty good. And then all of a sudden I turn the news on again, or I can't get near somebody that I want to get near, or I can't go someplace I want to go. This range of emotions. And I want to tell you something. It's okay. It's okay for that to be happening. The God of the universe is with you regardless of what's going on. For the Israelites in Exodus, when they were out in the wilderness, God led them with a pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire. By day and by night, no matter what happened, no matter what was going on, God was still there. I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, which means that I don't like to experience the negative ends of the emotional range. I don't like it. I'll do anything I can to get away from those things. But you know what? I have to face this, and so do you. And that's okay. And finally, during this time, we need companionship. We need people around us, and we need support for those people that are around us. I want you, during this time, to reach out to those that need you, but reach out to people that are older. And I don't mean just to take care of them. I mean, I want you to sit down with people that are older, and I want you to ask them about difficult things they've seen in their lives, things they've gone through, and how God guided and led them through it. There is no better guide to difficult times than people that have been through it already, and our seniors are a resource beyond understanding. It's not just about helping them, getting them groceries, do that, but ask them how God shows himself in difficult and hard times. Find ways to develop relationships. I have a friend who's a camping guy from downstate. His name is Bob Tissett, and he's a hugger and a prayer. But he can't do the hug and pray now. So he's got something online now. It's called Honk and Pray. He says, give me your name, and I'll go in my car, and I'll honk the horn for everybody in your house, and I'll pray for you. So he's a hugger and he's a honker and a prayer. I mean, this is a guy that loves community so much that he had to get creative to create it. Romans 1:11-12 talks just about being mutually beneficial to each other, to lift each other up. to guide each other in awesome and amazing ways. Remember what is going on. Feel the full emotions and realize that we still need companionship and we still need support. The book of 2 Kings has a story, 2 Kings 6, 8 through 23. And it's an amazing story that I think really pertains to what we're doing right now. The king of Aram was after the Israelites. And he wanted to attack Israel, and he had been seeking ways to do it. And the prophet Elisha had been cueing the nation of Israel, has been cueing them in to exactly what the king had been doing as he's chasing them down. He'd been telling them where they were and what was going on. So the king of Aram was really, really anxious to get Elijah. And he sent spies into Israel. They found out where he was, and he sent a huge army to come and just overwhelm Israel and to get Elijah and to take him captive. Elijah knew this was happening, and he was praying to the Lord that the Lord would guard them and guide them. And in the morning, he woke up, and his servant went out to the fields near where Elijah was sleeping. And he looked around and saw this huge army all around them, and he was scared to death. And he ran back inside and he grabbed Elijah and he said, "You don't understand. There's a huge army here. We're doomed. We're going to die." And the words of Elijah were this: "Don't you see? Those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And the eyes of the servant were opened, and he saw thousands of chariots of fire and horses covering the hillside in every direction. And realizing that the Lord is always going to win the day, that God was there even in the most difficult of times. I think about that, and I want you to understand something. All these things are happening around us, but those, or him who is with us, is greater than those that are with them. The God of the universe, the God that we worship and trust, is greater than a virus, or people shopping for toilet paper like crazy, or people doing all these things. God is with you in awesome and amazing ways. Remember that the God that is with us is greater than any force that comes against us. Don't ever let yourself get discouraged. Remember that. And one other thing I want you to remember: in difficult times, when things are hard around us, the world is looking at us as Christians to see how we're going to respond. And this is a chance. This is an opportunity for you and I to be Christians, to be a reflection of Jesus to the world around us, because they are watching us. Let me suggest a couple things. One, be hopeful. Be people that focus on deliverance, that focus on the getting through, that focus on positive things. Be hopeful. If you're constantly anxious and constantly worried and constantly uptight, they will say he has no one to trust just like us. And we do. We have Jesus. We have the one that's got the chariots of fire and the horses and the angels on every hillside waiting to come to your aid. Be joyful. I went to the grocery store yesterday, and one person was like awake. And I just said to the teller, I said, "Man, do I have to be kind of sullen?" And we both laughed and we smiled and we joked a little bit. It's okay. It's okay to be joyful. It's also okay for us to say, where is our joy founded? It's in salvation. It's in the fact that God is with us. The God of the universe is communing with you and I. The God of the universe says we can be joyful even in times of difficulty. And the world will take notice of that. Be peaceful. Do not try to correct everyone's fear, everyone's wrong belief, right belief, political viewpoint. Do not be a person that's looking to pick a fight or to make a point. Just be at peace with people that are around you. Listen to their concerns. Care for them where they are. Don't have to make every wrong right. And then offer prayers and support for the people that are around you. Even people that are not religious at this time are sometimes open to the idea that you're praying for them, that you care for them. Galatians 5:9 says, a little yeast works through a whole batch of dough. A little bit of yeast. As Christians, we can be that yeast in the world, saying that we are not going crazy. We trust in God, and He will deliver us. Greater is He who is for us than he who is against us. And Galatians 5:22-23 says, this is what you should be exhibiting. Fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. God is here for us in this most memorable of seasons. He is strong and He is powerful, and He is greater than any foe that we face. Let that anxiety wash away from you and be a representative of Jesus and Christianity around in everything you say and do. I'm a cyclist, and oftentimes when I'm biking, I always think, man, I better be on my best behavior. I better ride straight. I better do all the right things, because if I do something wrong, a motorist going by is going to get a bad impression of bikers, and then the next cyclist they come across, they're going to have this attitude. They're going to come close to them. They're going to butt. I always feel like I'm representing all cyclists when I'm on my bike on the highway. When you're walking around today and the next day and the next week, remember, you represent the God of the universe. You represent Christians all over the country, and your example might be the one model that they take for who we are and what we are. Kind of in closing, a story I've told in a sermon before, but I was in Alaska fishing, and at the end of the time fishing, we had a boat full of salmon, and the entire boat began to smell like, the whole boat began to smell like cucumbers. The entire boat smelled like cucumbers, and I didn't know what it was. And I asked my friend Ted, and he said it was a cucumber fish. I said, well, what was that? We didn't have time to talk about it. We're picking fish, we're throwing fish back, we're boom, 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 taking them out of the nets, throwing them back. After about 10, 11 hours of throwing fish back into the bins behind us, it still smelled like cucumbers. And I said to Ted, what is the smell? He said, it's a candlefish. A candlefish. He went back to the boat and he took a fish out, a little minnow about that big. And I smelled it, and it was unreal. This fish made the entire boat smell like cucumbers. We're a bunch of candlefish. Let's go out into the world, and let's use the power that is in us and for us to help change the scent of things that are going on around you. You know, God bless you in this season, remembering, so we can tell generations to come what God did during the great virus of 2020. Thanks so much.